All right, sorry for the delay. Is everybody here? Are we good to go?
I'm good to go.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's start. Let's go live. And yeah, we're live. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Discord. We're live on Media.network because we are Solana Hardcore, and of course on YouTube. Welcome, 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 Frank. We have Frank from GenesysGo. Very honored to have you. Thank you for being here.
Hey, appreciate you having me. The honor's all mine.
So tell us what you're up to. What's your what are your thoughts about the market? We see it quite warm.
Yeah, it seems like, guys, many thoughts about the market, right? Specifically, I'd just turn on a dime on you, but yeah, it seems like everything's doing quite well at the moment. I'm looking forward to when Solana stops with this like consolidation level that it's at and shoots up to 300 plus, but pretty sure everybody's looking forward for that.
Yeah, it's exactly that's the thesis. Double top a little bit to sideways, and then we explode.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's you start to build comfort, right, at certain price levels, especially the more often that you test them, they fail to break. I think a lot of people, some traders like to say that as supports get tested over and over again, they weaken. I'm not so much in that camp. I tend to think that if the more often that you test it, the stronger it gets. So this could be a spot where is a nice little support for a good long time, hopefully.
Totally agree on this one, and then on the thesis about visiting supports often. I think that in such market conditions, it just makes those supports healthier.
100%. I mean, especially with kind of the world economy that we're in at the moment, where everything's like super liquid, and yeah, central banks across the globe are just pumping liquidity to possibly everything they possibly can. It's also one of those like rising tide raises all boats type of situations.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Let's get a little bit more into you, into Genesis Go, into your the services you're providing. Tell us a little bit about you, about what you've been building, and about your journey a little bit. Where did you start, and how did you end up in Solana? That's an awesome journey. Most of us have taken, but every journey is different.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's definitely yeah, it's a winding road. My partner and I, we've always been like super hardcore tech nerds. Super like specifically to like hardware in particular. Yeah, I think there's some really cool stuff that you can kind of get into in terms of like discussions around like the way the way information's passed through circuitry, especially if you start to get into like some of the really fun stuff about like the physics of molecules moving and get down to like a quantum level. There's some really cool stuff there, but my partner and I, we actually spent most of our time building careers in like legacy finance, which was just super fun. And by that I mean like not really, but we ended up, we've been into crypto for a super long time, and it's funny because that's the thing that attracted us to Solana was actually like the hardware. Because like we found this like chain, and it was just like, oh wow, why are the hardware requirements to run a validator or just for the chain to exist, like 10, 20 times higher than than anywhere else.
And that's when were you thinking about that?
Oh god, that was like at this point a couple years ago, and then we kind of got into it like hardcore about a year ago, and then started GenesysGo with like just a validator. I want to say we went live in like February. And then about like March, when like the Serum RPC node started throwing fits, and it was taking like 20-30 minutes to settle a transaction on Radium, we kind of pivoted to RPC and like network infrastructure and architecture, and kind of noticed that like, hey, like RPC nodes, they're basically validators. And yeah, we just actually like reached out to Solana Foundation one day and was like, hey, we'd love to help with this whole RPC problem. And super shocked when they replied. So we've been building nodes now for probably about 8-9 months.
That's awesome, and that means that you actually found Solana quite early, like while it was pretty small and going sideways. The price was not very interesting. There was nothing really happening inside the network. It to me, because I also found it quite early. It gave me some Tezos feelings, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally that was our we spent probably way too long. We should have aped in way sooner, but yeah, we spent way too long just being like, what the hell are these guys doing, and how are they doing it? Because this is like, if what they're doing is like actually what they say, like what they're saying, like this is gonna be huge, and haven't been disappointed since.
Amazing, yeah. You found it early. You saw the vision, and you helped a lot to realize that vision.
Man, we're trying. Yeah, it's actually really cool, and this is kind of like part of what we're kind of like, part of our whole like thought process with like just GenGo. Like, when we first got started, it was we kind of like we started taking a look around. We realized like, there's not a lot of like hardware infrastructure people like active in like the community and the ecosystem, and you kind of had most of the at that time most of the hardware people, they hung out in their little like the little 1 or 2 channels in the Solana Discord, and maybe like hopped on Twitter every now and again. But we were trying to figure out like with our validator, like, man, how do we like attract some stake? How do we get people to want to like use us? And I didn't want to be like one of like 15 other people all sitting in a channel. It's like going to the marketplace and trying to sell your goods, and standing in line with like 15 other people all screaming at the top of your lungs. But I was just really surprised that like here's this like amazing community of developers and users, and nobody's out there talking about like the infrastructure and the hardware. And what's like super cool about Solana and like in their ethos, right, is that like Solana is able to do the things that it does because like hardware and software, like they're optimized to work like together. Like that's like the Solana engineers, like a lot of them are former Qualcomm engineers, right? I mean, they built 4G, 5G towers, all that fun stuff, and that's such a differentiator. But so we kind of ran with that ethos of making sure that like you're involved in the community, you're active in the ecosystem, but you're also making sure that that the hardware side and the software side, like, not just play nice, but actually like optimize together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, it's interesting that you came from legacy finance and you were actually into hardware instead of like day trading or something like that. That's super interesting.
Yeah. It's I mean, I've actually made my living for the past several years as a just like equity options trader. So of course, trading crypto wasn't exactly a huge leap there.
Definitely not a huge leap in terms of maybe mentality. Certainly a huge leap in terms of returns.
Yeah, that is an understatement and a half.
So GenesysGo offers at the moment Validator services and RPC services, right? Can you give us a TLDR of what is what? So, because many people here are familiar, we know, with the front end of things, where you're doing things in Radium and swapping and staking and trading NFTs and minting things. Tell us a little bit where each technology is used in our Solana, touch points.
Yeah, for sure. So, and this is like, I'm glad you asked that question, because this like kind of lays some groundwork for some of the other things that I want to talk about, right? But so basically, like validators, like a validator node, and you'll hear the term validator and RPC sometimes used interchangeably. They're not. They're they may be the same like machine configs, and they technically run like this, basically the same versions of software, but they do 2 completely different functions, right? Like a validator node, it builds blocks. That's it. It just builds blocks. All it does is take information that's sent to it, works with other validators, talks to other validators, and builds consensus to say that, yep, these transactions are valid. They all the parties in the trustless environment, they all agree, and we all agree. So therefore, it gets processed and built into the chain. RPC nodes, though, they're like that's a like Web 2 infrastructure piece, because like when you hop onto your favorite platform, and you click the trade button, right, or you click the mint button. What happens is your request goes through the web host, and it gets sent to an RPC node. The RPC structure, like if you think about like the validator layer as being like the foundation, right, of where the blockchain's made, there's the layer above that is the RPC structure, or RPC layer, and RPC servers basically act as traffic managers. They make sure that as requests are routed to different validators, that they're they're not like blowing up one validator that's already overworked, right? Let's say it's maybe a machine that's
like if you had to think about it in Ethereum terms, would you say like this resembles maybe the mempool or something like that?
Not so much, because like the mempool is still part of the actual chain architecture. Think about RPCs. If you think about the blockchain as a highway, the RPCs are the on-ramps to that highway. They make sure cars are coming onto the highway. They're able to do it with enough room to match the speed of the other cars, and to make sure that there's not a clog, right? Like if you've ever been driving down a highway, you hit a random traffic jam, and then all of a sudden it just clears up out of nowhere. That's because of inefficiency in the traffic flow. So RPC servers maintain the traffic flow, but they're like I say, they're a piece of Web 2 network architecture.
I see. So is this something that we'll find in other chains as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. As a matter of
anything
fact,
that when you interact with the Uniswap, then that's an RPC call.
Yep. Yeah. So they may have different terms for it, but yeah, anytime that you have requests being routed, it's being routed via RPC, or remote procedural call server. Yeah, they are the load balancers, let's call it, of the blockchain.
So both validators and RPC nodes are pieces of hardware, right?
Right. Yeah. So they're not, and this is where it gets kind of cool, but they're not, they're running software, but yeah, they're machines, sitting in data centers, in racks. Yeah, literally just processing requests, funneling requests. If you want to check a balance on the network, those RPCs, they'll actually go and comb through the chain, find the specific block that you're calling for. If you need them to verify that an NFT is real, they'll go search through wherever, Arweave, they'll go search through Metaplex, they'll search the chain, and find anything that you need. And basically, that prevents the validators from becoming overworked, and just lets the validators focus on building blocks, which is one of the reasons why Solana can go so fast, right? Because the validators are just focused on building blocks.
That's sounds like a really cool thing to be able to build and help in the creation of blocks and in the routing of all the information that is being queried.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's super fun. It's foundational at the end of the day. I mean, all we do is just allow people the ability to have a foundation that they can build, their own houses on top of, their own projects on top of. Every single platform project that whether it's, I don't know, like DeFi stuff like Mango, or Candy Machine NFT drops, or Star Atlas, like blockchain games. all of those rest on that infrastructure foundation. All of those have to connect, and they need in order just to talk to the blockchain, they need RPC servers. So everything in DeFi, the NFT space, actively uses RPCs 24/7, 365.
Yeah, Grape does. I know that for sure.
Yep. Yep.
And I know there's a cost associated. So my next question is: does when a project, like when a team starts building a project, maybe in the beginning that's not obvious, but they'll need to do quite a lot of calls sometimes.
Yeah.
Is this something that they should consider on maybe learning themselves, or delegate it to a specialist like GenesysGo?
Yeah, so it depends a lot on kind of like where your mind's at. Can somebody can a developer learn to like build their own server, configure it, maintain it, watch it? Like absolutely. Uh, it's a question of time. It's a question of whether you want to. Like will, skill, and time, right? Like do you have the will to build, manage? Do you have the skill to do it, and do you have the time to want to commit to those things? It's for vast majority of developers, their time is much better spent focused on their project, right? Because they don't need to be watching a network. They don't need to be troubleshooting their machine. That's what you hire, like pay for a service for. You're paying with GenesysGo, right? Like you're paying for us to just always make sure the machine works, always make sure everything works. You don't care what's going on the back end. You just need to know that it works. And like I say, that's where it really comes down to, as I said, where's your time best spent? I think we as builders, it's very easy for us to kind of fall in the trap of, I know how to do this, or I could do this, so let me go ahead and do it. But is it worth it? The answer is largely no. And on top of that, there's a measure of like cost sharing, right? Like one of the things that was super important to us when we got going was, we wanted to make sure that everybody, like regardless of like who your project is, what you do, that you have no rate limiting. Like that was super important to us, because it was like really stupid in our minds that everybody's coming to build on the world's fastest blockchain, and then getting speed limits put on them by their RPC infrastructure. And so like we built and configured our network in such a way where we don't ever have to rate limit or throttle or anything like that. But it's interesting, because one of the things that we noticed was like there's this massive push for like dedicated nodes when we first came online. Like everybody was almost like conditioned in a way, I think, to to think like dedicated nodes are like that's the way to go, which versus like being part of a shared pool of resources, like a cluster.
It makes more sense to be part of a cluster, in my mind at least, because the RPC calls maybe are not constant. You maybe have like huge traffic at some point, maybe smaller traffic at some other point. Your requirements get huge initially, and then you don't need it. It's hard to actually see in the future on the demand on your experimental protocol on the experimental chain on cryptocurrencies.
Dude, like we've had it's like even just the past several months, like the improvements that they've made on the chain, they've reduced resource requirements for for things like some of like the most resource intensive things. They've reduced those resource requirements by 20-30%. It's kind of actually a little bit of a misconception, but you're spot on. Like like a shared pool of resources, so long as that shared pool is built and kind of equipped to handle like those bursts of traffic when they pop up, it's far superior. As a matter of fact, like the only time that we do like dedicated nodes is if a project is just like, no, we want our own nodes, and it's like a comfort thing, or we just like they're willing to pay to basically build like literally their own little private cluster on that's purely their own.
Yeah, it's marketing as well, you know. Say,
Yeah.
hey, this is my RPC node here. You can do all your
Yeah.
calls from here. They'll never stop. There's nobody else in there.
It's a pay. I mean, we'll kind of sometimes, you know, gets used as a penalty box too. It's like, oh, your code's kind of bad. Go fix your code and stop using up like 2 nodes worth of resources consistently, and then we'll let you come back on the playground, play with everybody else. But in the meantime, we're gonna go put you in the penalty box.
I love that. I love the penalty box.
Uh,
And like let's stay on the RPC nodes side.
Yeah.
What are the costs associated? Like if someone wanted to what's the average load of calls for I don't know, a lending protocol, like something because there is a lot of competition on Solana at the moment with, you know, ports, Solend, all the Solyard and Francium, they're all using some kind of lending. They're all offering that. Like, how much does the machine that would do all these RPC costs cost them?
Yeah. So
If
like
they had to
with
build
us,
it themselves.
oh, if they had to build it themselves, like a couple grand per month, easy, or like if they were, you know, like we're gonna build their own machine, you know, probably 10-ish or so.
Oh, it's okay. It's a sizable amount. It's not like yours.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not cheap. And like if you try to go like do this through like AWS, which I've harped on this a ton. I'll harp on it again. Like cloud, like big tech cloud instances suck. Like at processing Solana transactions, like they burn to the ground, like screaming and crying the second they get any kind of like real load on them. But it's also insane because you end up paying like 3-4 grand a month for just like basic servers, simply because like Solana pushes so much data. So the data transfer rates on those servers are just like insane. We and then of course there's also the fact that you're just like supporting big tech, and it's not really decentralized. Doesn't really fit into like the decentralized thesis, does it?
Yeah, definitely not.
But yeah, so like for us, we'll set up. So for us, like as I say, it's unlimited requests, unlimited data, no throttling, and if you're on the private cluster, it's just a flat 500 a month. Which I was also like super surprised when people were surprised that like we accepted crypto, because I'm like, we're doing business with crypto projects. Who doesn't? But anyways,
I love the way you think, because I've seen so many conferences around here not accepting crypto. So yeah, it makes sense. If you're gonna pay for the the engine that runs your cryptocurrency application and protocol, it should be with crypto.
Right. Like I don't know. It was just really weird to me when I was like, wait, sorry, you're surprised by this? Like, oh yeah, no, we definitely take crypto. And that's gonna be something cool, like with our new we're getting like the back end on our website finished out. And so we'll be the only RPC provider where people can just like hop in and connect their wallet to pay for their nodes, which is gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's. I mean, is there competition at the moment in what you're doing in the Solana ecosystem?
I mean, I would say no, but that's just because I think we're way more awesome than everybody else.
Yeah, you've towered over any competition, because I don't know anybody. Like you're taking over the market, and there is a reason, obviously. And congrats on that. Like honestly, you guys have been killing it.
Dude, like all jokes aside, I'm still like waiting to like wake up or something. I'm cannot tell you how just like appreciative like we are, and just how like blown away like we are that I words can't even describe. And yeah, I mean like there's other teams. There's I think 3 other projects, 4 other projects I think that they do the same thing. They offer RPC nodes. One of them was kind of like the original OGs that built the private network or the public network. And then there's a couple that they tried to port over, and basically they did the same thing, but they do it on multiple chains, and they tried to port over Solana. And it's interesting because, like building on Solana, it's you're building like on the hardest chain to build on, from a network infrastructure perspective. And the things that work on like Ethereum, or Cardano or Algorand or whatever, they don't work on Solana. Solana requires, it's special. It likes to do things its own way, and it does them so much faster than everybody else that a process that works on Ethereum just does not work on Solana. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've been able to like expand so much and power, like to the point where we're powering as many projects as we are, is because we started here, right? Like this is where we cut our teeth. This is what we know, and candidly, like this is all we care to know. Like it's, I don't know, the people and the ecosystem just too cool to really care much about going elsewhere.
Man, no, you've been doing it right, so definitely. I'm
appreciate
sure
that.
that like it's you've been offering great services, and you accept crypto, and you're friendly and out there, and
Oh, this
come
guy.
on, man, I know why what's
This
going
guy.
on. Let's go back to the tech though.
Yeah.
I totally understand all the RPC nodes. I need some help on the validators. Does any project need to actually run their own validator?
So need to? No. Like, I mean, indirectly, like, yeah, we all need validators, right? They're what makes Solana. Like literally, they're what makes Solana. Do you need one in order for your project to work? No. They're not like RPCs in that regard. Now again, I say all of that, but like I also say that with the caveat of, I think it's like one of Solana's maybe the single biggest risk that Solana faces, in my personal opinion, is like having enough validators. Because in order for Solana to hit like that 40, 50, 60,000 transactions per second that it's theoretically capable of doing, you need more and more and more validators. And we're starting to see here recently situations where the validator network, it's able to get overwhelmed because of the sheer number of requests, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see, because we don't need validators to run a project, but you need them for Solana
Smoothly
to
run the
survive.
network, especially as traffic
Yeah.
increases, and
Exactly.
more bots are coming, spam is coming, malicious actors are coming. People might try to do some shady things. So the more validators, the more maybe air quote decentralized, close
Oh
air
yeah.
quote.
Absolutely. I mean, it's well, this is where I think
Like where was
like
Solana
stake pools
last
are gonna be
year,
super.
and what is Solana today in terms of validators? Are we on a at least on a positive route?
Yeah, it's definitely on a positive route. I mean, last year, it was a couple, like, I don't know, 4, 5, 600. Now it's over 1,000. Especially as they're starting to like bring over validators from the test net. The difficult part right now is it's frankly Solana being as at like 200 and some change, right? Because a validator, like every validator, it just in order to vote and build blocks, it has to burn between like 0.8 and 1.1 Solana tokens per day. So everybody make sure to tip your validators, because it's not cheap. Like right now it's what, $200 and some change per day just for your validator to like exist. That's a pretty steep cost just to run a validator. And I know the Solana team is working to like do things to reduce that, doing things to try to help like make spread stake around. But like it's interesting because everybody, myself included, wants to see Solana get up to like 1,000. But then imagine for a second, with like the current way that validators work, that would mean you're burning $1,000 a day just for a
But
validator to exist.
are you making anything though?
That's the kicker, right? That's where like you have to have staked with your validator. And that's where Solana is trying to help spread stake to high performing validators by via stake pools. Before stake pools, you literally just had to go out there and start hustling and grinding and trying to like basically sell your validator people. But if you get to a point, where you get like 50, 60, 80,000 Solana tokens staked with your validator, you do hit a break even where you're generating enough rewards that you're paying for what you're burning and then starting to make a little more. But like I said, it's that interim period, right, of getting there. That's it took us. We got. I wouldn't say lucky. We were kind of deliberate and doing like a stake for airdrop program with the Samo coin team when they first kind of when Samo first popped up. Where it was like, hey, stake 1 Solana token with the GenesysGo validator and we'll airdrop you 100 Samo tokens. And we literally just went out and bought 10 million Samo.
And now Samo is to the moon, and you're wondering.
I was gonna say, I hope they held it, because
my God, you're wondering.
I hope,
maybe we should have just kept the Samo and do everything ourselves.
Oh God, we tell ourselves that that's just the cost because we're trying to build a business, not a missed out opportunity.
I've been asking you so many general tech questions, and I really want us to go on the hot topic for today. But before we go on the hot topic, I want you to just explain to me what happened during our IDO. Solana stopped. Okay, what happened in the RPC side? What happened in the validator side? What was going on? Was it going live? Were you around when this was going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let me just start that by saying that it was 100% not Grape's fault. Grape did not kill Solana. Yeah, there was a lot of traffic, but it was traffic that a validator shouldn't die just because it gets hit with a lot of requests. That's what RPC infrastructure is there for, is to prevent that. What happened was it was a comedy of errors, let's call it, in that there were multiple things that all happened at the same time that none of them by themselves could have brought down the network. So yeah, the huge increase in traffic from the Grape IDO definitely didn't help matters, right? There were a couple of folks that were trying to get super cute with how they were routing requests that got basically tried to exploit a bug with not a bug, tried to exploit the carelessness of some validator operators, because there's a few ports that a validator can talk through that are supposed to be closed. Solana is says, please make sure that all ports, all portals for communication are closed except for this one and this one. Well, not all validator operators are super on point, and so a lot of them had attack surfaces that were open that should have been closed. Those got flooded. That obviously would kill a few validators, but it's not going to bring the network down. But then on top of that, there was a bug with basically in the architecture, there's a funnel where RPC requests kind of get funneled through to an assembly line of sorts. It's called the feeder queue. And there was also a bug with the feeder queue that was a known bug, and it was actually going to be fixed in a patch that was literally going to be pushed out the following week. You just happen to have a confluence. All those three things hit at the exact same time in that exact same moment, and just started murdering things. And when you have, so it takes I think it's like 66% of the network has to be in consensus as to where the network is, what block we're on, what's the valid fork. Well, the second you have the second you have 35%, 34%, whatever, of your validator nodes disagreeing, entire network halts. And so like I say, in and of themselves, no one of those things are capable of killing the network. it was like a literal perfect storm. It was super fascinating from a case study perspective. And then from our perspective, it was like 6-7 hours of sitting on our hands while we waited on Solana to issue instructions to validators as to how to restart. And then they needed 80% of all validators to, or excuse me, 80% of all stake from a like total percentage perspective. But they basically need a certain amount of validators to all execute the instructions at the same time, in the right, like at the same moment, and not screw it up. So
Wow,
that took a try or two.
amazing how they achieved the coordination to bring everybody together and like 3, 2, 1, press the button up. Like it must have been like an adventure. Wow, whoever coordinated that,
yeah.
nice.
They did a good job. It was fun watching like random validators would pop into the Solana Discord, be like, guys, I think I got my validator voting, and then everybody would dogpile on, and be like, stop it, just sit down and shut up and wait.
Amazing. Yeah. I wish I was lurking in that Discord.
It was a fun day.
So yeah, let's go on the hot topic. I see people on the various chats are asking. Yeah. You explained enough general things. Tell us about what's going on with funding, NFTs, and all the other things. So yeah,
Shut
give
up
us
and
an
talk
intro.
about what matters.
Give us an intro for those that didn't do their homework. Those soldiers that arrived at war without their weapon.
I love that. So for those of you that came to war without your weapon, so what we're doing is, so GenesysGo is doing their own NFT drop, our own NFT drop after powering like, I think we powered like 57 plus NFT drops with 0 errors. We were like, hey, we want to do one too. But as we were talking through it, we wanted to do something. We wanted to do something that was, community focused, something that was different than just like, your average profile pick drop, which is like, I think, is like the ecosystem's kind of getting to a point, like you hear about like, NFT fatigue, all that kind of stuff. We want to do something that like would try to push utility at least a little bit further. We've been talking about doing like a token. We've talked about it for, off and on for a while. We've got a plan built out of like what we can do with it, how to use it. But it's kind of those things where it's like, it's not really like we didn't want to just, give a bunch of our token to VCs and have to do the whole pitch deck thing and then like we've all, I'm sure everybody in this channel, they've all participated in IDOs and stuff, and you look at like where IDOs get priced as they come out the gate, and the massive volatility afterwards and everything like that, and it's kind of like you just, I don't know, it feels like you kind of just got to like take whatever's thrown at you.
Yeah, it's a spray and pray technique.
Yeah,
that's the thesis. You spray and pray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's not community driven. It's not a community event. It's a bunch of, candidly, centralized insider companies that they they kind of have the market, so to speak, cornered on. Well, if you want to make a successful project, you want to then like accelerate that project and gather funding, you come to a VC. And we were like, well, why? So that kind of got us to think about like, all right, well, we want to do an NFT drop. We have, we've built at this point, we've been powering different projects in the ecosystem for, 8 months. So we've built a, very successful project. It's a completely, self-sufficient now. And we're in that, like, we have a bunch of really cool things we want to do. We want to, decentralize RPC infrastructure. We want, start a DAO to, push forward more like innovation with the infrastructure of Solana, the code that powers Solana. And we were like, well, how are we going to do that? It's going to take a while to aggregate that capital if we're just like looking off of like, what our business does. And again, our business is, relatively speaking, it's, fairly centralized, which again, that's not part of our ethos. And then we got to think, we were like, well, NFTs are basically passcodes. They're access cards. They're markers. What if we did our capital raise in such a way that it involves the community? Because at the end of the day, the community is like, that's what's made us successful. It's all of you guys. It's every developer, it's every project, every user. Who is who let my best friend Steven and I quit our jobs, take all of our personal savings, put it all on the line to get a crap ton of expenses and servers, and then just pray that we don't go bankrupt or something. And it was all you guys that let us actually make this thing work.
So far everything is self-funded. This is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Wow. Okay, we're talking about hardware, guys. This is
Yeah.
no joke. It's a
There
huge
was some
cost.
terrifying moments.
I'm impressed. I did not expect that.
No, I appreciate that. No, yeah,
Have
seriously,
mortgage
all self-funded.
on your house and your everything. Amazing.
Now imagine having 50 of those or
Wow,
100 of those.
man.
But it just it was so the way we started looking at it. We had this. I'm sure you remember that. I think it was Elizabeth Warren several months ago. Had that really stupid quote about. A group of shadowy supercoders threatening global financial stability, and the whole shadowy supercoder thing.
I remember the shadowy supercoders part for sure. It was standing out. I remember there was a lot of tweets about it poking fun.
It was pretty funny. So that was kind of the inspiration for our NFT. But what we wanted to do, as I said, was give it extra utility. And at the end of the day, you can paint it however you want, but whether you're a profile pick project, if you're still plan on having an IDO and you're just we're going to do something for our community and launch an NFT. At the end of the day, you're raising capital. Why not let the people that mint, and the people that hold our NFT, why not let them participate in that, right? Because we're gonna take that capital, we're gonna do a number of things with it that are going to accelerate GenGo. They're going to, it's going to allow us to. I feel like we bridged the gap between all of the competitors that got a start before we did. It's going to allow us to just blow past them. It's going to allow us to give free infrastructure away for several months for the entire ecosystem. But at the end of the day, it's what's the community going to get out of this? Well, our whole thing was, let's take our seed token allocation, the allocation that would normally be given to, venture capitalist firms, and let each minter actually be a little mini VC on their own, a little mini venture capitalist on their own, right? With a relatively hopefully small amount of money. Definitely don't bet your last dollar or anything, but a relatively small amount of money that gets you 10,000 GenesysGo tokens at a much cheaper price than what the what an IDO price would price out for, which currently the only way for somebody to get a hold of a token is either to participate in the IDO or get it in the secondary market.
Yeah, but usually those early sales have some terms attached, like vesting, or there's something attached to it. The VCs can't really dump on the retailers day one.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm not saying that that's what we're trying to solve for. We'll have using smart contracts to have some a vesting period. We're doing a really cool thing with our future IDO that I think is gonna be super interesting. But no, it's not even not necessarily about the lockups. It's about the fact that if I'm making things up here, but let's say a token, it IDOs at $1. The public can buy it for $1. Well, the VCs that put money that contributed funds to that project early in a seed funding round, they paid 5 cents for those tokens. So whether they hold it for a year or not, at no matter what, they're still they still instantly have a 95-cent return per token.
Yeah, yes. Totally agree. Yeah, this is what's happening. The floor is set by the IDO, and the private investors have done their X100 out of nowhere.
Bingo. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like there's a reason for it, right? They typically have less information to go on. Things are less concrete than they are by the time they get to the IDO stage. They take a little bit more risk, but they still vet the hell out of it, right? Like, and for all of the vetting and all the pitching that they listen to, they get, like you said, like 95%, 100x return. And so that was like I said, that was kind of our whole thing was, well, let's do this. Let's let the community, let's let the people that mint our token or mint our NFT, the people that want to, they supported us, they appreciate what we do, they get it. Let's let them be the ones to get the 100x return, 1000x return. And even if it does take a little bit because of a short vesting period, you're still sitting there on sitting on 100x return. Like, that's not a bad deal.
So let me make sure I understood everything correctly. You're gonna mint an NFT which corresponds to the seed investment that you would have gotten. And how much coin are you minting for that seed?
Yeah. So originally.
So let's say if all the NFTs that are purchased are actually swapped for coins during your IDO.
Oh yeah.
How much coin would be that?
So a full half of our token allocation, which comes up to 100 million GG tokens, are going to the community, going to the seed token allocation. Like I say, there's what I think is a pretty cool mechanism in in the IDO to reabsorb some of that, let's call it. But we can talk about that here in a minute. But yeah, no, half of so we have a 200 million total supply, and half of it is going to be given to, is going to be dropped to the folks that mint, hold the NFT.
And how many NFTs are you planning on selling out? If you were to sell out completely?
10,000.
Okay, perfect. Now, math makes sense now. It adds up to 200 million.
Yeah, it's up to 100 million. Yeah, it's those little those little minor important details, right? Like.
And so it also, like, the people will be able to swap it. They will be able to keep the NFT, keep the art, and also get their 10,000 coins at. This is going to happen, I assume, in a future date when there is an IDO planned, and
correct.
Those NFT holders will be the OGs, like back then when they actually supported early. Is there going to be any vesting attached to that for those 10,000 tokens, or they will be unlocked together with the IDO portion?
Yeah, so the way we're going to be doing the IDO is we have a very small chunk of the other 200 or the other 100 million. I think it's like 20%, I think, which is flagged for an IDO, right? And I use that term in air quotes, and I'll explain why. So realizing that not everybody is going to, not everybody in the community, right, is going to either want or maybe have the capability to just be like, oh cool, I'm just gonna sit on these tokens for a full year. When we do our IDO, similar to the way that Aurora did theirs, what we're going to be doing is allowing folks that are holding or that would be would be getting airdropped the seed tokens, allowing them to contribute that contribute them instead to the IDO pool. So rather than all of the funding or the allocation that funds the IDO pool coming just from GenesysGo, right? From Genesis.
So you'll allow them to de-risk in a way.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Exactly. Yeah, we'll allow them to de-risk and allow them to fund the pool. So that means, and again, this just kind of goes back to our whole thought process around the community should be more involved. IDOs should be more decentralized. How do we do that? Well, you know what? We allow the community to put to help fund that pool of tokens. And so, if if we have, X number of people that they contribute they're like, yeah, I want to go ahead and liquidate, take my profits, de-risk, whatever, then, cool, great. You put those in there, and whatever the IDO comes out for, which of course, by that time, there's a whole process to having an IDO, right? There's as you said, IDO kind of it sets a floor. And so, so that's the thought process there, which what that does is it basically allows for the de-risking. It also creates balance between the sell and the buy side. Obviously in IDO, the buying pressure is hopefully, at any rate, if it's a successful IDO, the buying pressure is going to be significantly more than the selling pressure anyways. So, what we're trying to do with, or the other aspect of what we're trying to do with this idea is kind of help minimize the chances of a token price dump. And so this is an opportunity for those that would want to sell into a controlled environment in which there is, again, hypothetically, more buying pressure from people who are buying that will be looking to hold it. Does that make sense?
Very well thought. Yes, it makes sense, and
okay,
I kind of love it because it's pretty smart. It's pretty smart. It's like you're saying, okay, guys, you supported us in the beginning. Here is if you want to exit, here is an exit for you. If you want to stay on board, stay on board. It's very honest. It really gives choice. That's we don't really get a choice.
That's
when
the
it
goal,
comes
man.
to IDOs. You either moon or you become a community member. Here,
exactly.
There is an in-between. It's like Squid Game. We can vote, and we can stop the whole thing.
Well, and, so, and I just want to make sure, I'm clear on this, right? Because I had said earlier that the, there's a 20% of the remaining, 20 million of the remaining 100 million comes from the GenesysGo allocation. At no point do we want anybody to feel like, their tokens are having to compete with, the our allocation of tokens. So, our tokens that come from that IDO allocation, they're going to take a back seat to the tokens that are held by seed investor minters. So basically, all of anybody that it decides to take that exit ramp, so to speak, they're going to get all of their all those tokens are going to be sold first. And if it ends up where not many of the token allocation from the IDO portion gets sold out, well, that's fine, because what the hell did we do the capital raise for then? You know what I mean? How it's that's kind of the whole point of doing if you're running a project smart, that's kind of the whole point of a capital raise, right? Is to set you up for a long runway in the future. And so it's funny because the IDO is it really is more about, as you said, creating choice for the people that helped us accelerate via the NFT drop.
I think it's very fair, but before I say that, it's extremely fair, because it is. You're really giving options. I want us to talk a little bit about the utility of the coin. Where is this coin used? What is it needed for? And is it something that is it connected with any profitability of the business? I don't want to say protocol, or we're working towards more smart contracts, more decentralization. But until we're there, it's a centralized entity that maybe has profit, and then is there any thought of actually profit sharing? I don't know.
Yeah. No, those are all fantastic questions. So a couple of things to set the stage with. So one of the things that's super important to us is moving to a DAO DAO governance, right? The Shadowy Supercoders DAO. It's actually like pretty cool. We've gotten some just amazing reception from like our users, which are like developer teams that have all expressed a ton of interest in minting these NFTs, and a lot of them because NFT, like the NFT is your access into the membership into the DAO. So a lot of decisions around like profit sharing, for instance, like that's 100% like on the table. Those are things that I think it's important that a DAO make decisions on, right? So things that the DAO will figure out, right? What
Yeah,
amount of
I
profit
totally
sharing, right?
agree, and I understand where you're going. Like, obviously, like it's nicer to start with no profit sharing, and then the DAO decides profit sharing, because it's otherwise you are issuing an unregistered security. Even from a legal point of view, it would make sense for
Exactly.
anything to start with profit sharing. And this is something we found in common in every project. Doesn't matter if like the quality of the project, like you don't want to start with that stamp on you. So yeah, I totally
Yep.
understand the requirement of having a DAO and having a decentralized community governance and all sorts of things. But why, like, so the idea is you will fundraise, you will do your fundraising with the tokens, and then you're going to implement a governance body that will manage the direction of the business, right?
Yep. And what's cool about it is because ultimately what we're moving to, and this is what the NFT drop, the capital raise is for. What we're building and launching is a true decentralized RPC network. So keeping in mind the fact that RPCs, they're like roads, they're like plumbing. Everybody uses it. Everybody, right? It has to exist for the blockchain to function. What we're building out, which we've gotten it to work in in the lab. Now it's a matter of scaling and rolling into production. But we want the ability for anybody to be able to plug into not the GenesysGo RPC network, right? Just the Solana RPC network, and they can contribute their compute power. What's cool about that is, like think about the phrase "contribute your compute power," right? To power the network. Well, that's that's a proof of work chain. That's that's how Bitcoin got started, right? It was contribute your compute and solve algorithms, earn rewards in Bitcoin. Well, right now, there's different RPC networks, but they're all segregated, right? Like the GenesysGo network doesn't talk to the Quick Node network, right? And that's just because of the way networks work. Well, what we want to have, or what we're building out and going to be launching, and this is what this is the true utility of the token, is let's say you're sitting at home. Well, let's say, so initially phase one, there's a minimum computer requirement for a Solana RPC, just like a validator. Right now you fire up a validator node, you just plug it into Solana, and as long as you have the right configs and you're using the Solana CLIs, you connect, you start earning rewards, start building blocks. That doesn't exist for the RPC side. That's what we're building, and that's what we want to have, where somebody can just they build up a rig. They connect and they start powering RPC calls. They start funneling, doing exactly what we're doing, and then earning rewards for that contribution to their compute power. Ultimately, though, where we're going is kind of a poor way to put it, but just is basically forking the Solana RPC configs to where anybody with a computer and a connection can literally just punch a button on a program, they start contributing their desktop, their desktop computer's compute power. Maybe you go to bed, you're not gonna be on your computer, you want to earn some rewards. Basically, it introduces like proof of work style mining into a proof of stake, proof of history chain.
It's pretty huge. Like I mean, it's insane. You are like decentralizing a decentralized network. Like you're decentralizing validators and decentralizing all of these. Like it's insane.
And it's doable. That's the crazy thing. Like the crazy thing is that it's doable. There's a couple of other there's one that I know of off the top of my head that they do like decentralized RPC for other chains. They dropped into the Solana Discord here recently, and it was kind of funny because they were like, "Hey guys, we're here as a gift to the Solana network. Here's a link to a free node," and then you click on the node, and the link it gave you a 404 error. It didn't work, and it's like, "Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely." That's a great first impression. But it's, as I kind of started off talking about how the things that work on other chains don't work on Solana, right? It's with Solana it builds a block every 400 milliseconds, right? Like that's thousands of blocks every second, every minute, blah blah. You can't just port over your existing like network architecture from a slower chain like Ethereum or wherever and have it work. It doesn't work. So you can have this massive network of RPCs. They all basically start talking on slightly different frequencies, for lack of a better term. They get desynced from one another. So by building on because of the fact that we started on Solana and like we started building exclusively on Solana, we know the network inside and out. That's how we were able to go from, okay, cool, we have a centralized RPC network to, oh, cool, we can do a decentralized RPC network and still balance the whole thing, keep it all in sync. And that's what it's funny because that's what like other projects who already have a quote decentralized RPC network on other chains, they're hopping over to Solana and all of a sudden all their stuff's breaking and they don't know why. And so I think, like I said, I think we'll be at the current run rate, we'll be the first to actually like launch a true decentralized and like working RPC network.
Awesome. Really, like I'm pretty speechless because I'm pretty sure like the Solana labs would be like in love with that idea.
They definitely have expressed a little bit of fondness, yes.
Yeah, it has like I'm excited. I can't imagine like what these guys would be thinking.
Yeah, they thought it was pretty cool.
And so I assume like it would have an extra. Is there any extra incentive for someone who is planning maybe to use your services? Maybe a builder, maybe a project, maybe a community, maybe I don't know, that is actually going to use RPC nodes and do all these massive amounts of calls. Is there any incentive for those people to buy those NFTs and get into the DAO and do all these things? Are there any are the tokens I don't know, maybe providing some kind of discount to your services or anything else while you're developing this vision?
Yeah, so there's a few actually, like a few really cool things that we can do, and this is where it gets, like, for me anyways, it gets fun because like, and I've been harping on this for the past couple of weeks, like the ability to stay agile right now I think is so important. So the first thing, like, so if our mint sells out, in the first 24 hours, like we're just gonna open up our network and give everybody in Solana access to it at no cost for next 3 months. And that's going to be honestly what a decent chunk of the funds are going to go to is Stephen and I ordering several hundred servers and then getting them all up and running and configured, and so that way everybody at Lisbon at Breakpoint in Lisbon is deving for free on a kick-ass network. But when you move into the token realm, there's, like I say, there's some really cool things you can do because you can start doing things with, like, let's say you're a project, you want to you want to find a way to incentivize, your community to, like hold your token, or participate in certain events. Like there's things you can do where you can offer, like you can basically like set it up to where you have a browser extension. It's one of the things we're working with a fantastic team called Goo Tools, where like users can actually control which RPC provider they route their requests through via a web browser extension. The funny thing is like Goo, they posted this like amazing like proof of concept demo, and they were like, "Hey, RPC providers, like reach out to us. We'd love to work with you." And we were the only ones that reached out to them. And
That's
so
an awesome
like,
idea, actually. So you kind of
it's a great
circumvent
idea.
the whatever mint you're trying to do, and they're using some RPC that is being overloaded. You have your extension, you go through something that has zero traffic, and you're there to mint it.
Yeah, exactly. Now imagine, like I say, it's and I'm just gonna use Grape as the example, right? But like, what if it's a perk for Grape token holders, that they get access to being able to use like, an extension like this, because the extension, as cool as it is, the extension doesn't do anything unless there's an RPC network to power it, right? And so in the interim, between like now and when like a decentralized when we launch our decentralized RPC network idea, in the interim, it's a cool perk, right, of people that like yeah, they hold the right amount of Grape tokens, right, or they have the role in the Grape Discord, where cool, everybody, you get to route your requests through the GenesysGo network just for being a productive member of Grape.
Part of Grape, and now you have higher chances on minting your NFT and having more chances to make it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Din Machine here is in the network is taking notes. So yeah, thank you for that. Good idea.
Well, it's so cool because the rest of like the mint itself could literally be burning down, but because of the fact that that mint made a bad choice and decided to try to mint on the public network, which please never do that. Only members of the Grape Discord, all of their mints would be going through, right? There's some really cool applications. I mean, heck, when Star Atlas, they launched like the first round of their GAO, they and like the Serum RPC nodes crashed, which, by the way, the Star Atlas nodes didn't crash because we were running them, but the Serum RPC nodes crashed. What was really funny is the dexes we power, they were all working, right? So it's like you had this massive network shaking event where like the like Serum's nodes crash, like their dex is down, but because you're not routing through those RPCs, you're routing around through a network that's still working. You're basically all of your requests are going through while everybody else is stuck in a traffic jam.
Yeah, I can definitely see the advantages on the extension and on decentralizing the RPC network. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Well, thank you. We are too.
honestly, and I see people are very excited. I can we have over 120 people watching on the live, and I can't see two platforms at the moment, but I can see the chats that people are excited about all these things. So give us a little bit of an idea of the timeline. Tomorrow is the drop, no?
Yep, tomorrow is the drop. It was at 6 p.m. UTC. I think that comes out to 2 p.m. Eastern. And so it's
10,000 pieces and the price.
Pieces. Yeah, so and so this is where we'll talk about this here. So the mint price was sitting at 3 Sol. We're actually, and this is as a huge thank you to like the community for the like sheer amount of hype and like forward momentum. Like I actually, I felt super confident about our mint like from the get-go because of the utility and everything like that. But like watching dev teams, watching the community, watching people, in Discord, on Twitter, everybody like giving us like these huge shout outs, even when the mint price is at a at 3 Sol, right? Which we all see those Twitter threads where it's like, if you're charging 0.25, it's too high or whatever. And like we've got tons of people like, yep, I'm gonna mint. I want to mint as many as possible. So as a thank you for just all of that, so our mint price is not gonna be 3. It's gonna be 2.5. And the amount of seed tokens will still stay the same. So it's just
So
one of
even
those things
a higher like a bigger discount.
effectively. It's like I said, the community's been so wonderful to us, and the hype means more than anybody could know. And like I say, what we're hoping to do with it, when we sell out, in terms of like the value we're hoping to bring to the network, it's been really cool to go from like people being like, what's this RPC thing, to like, no guys, GenesysGo, like they're the one, like they're like I'm so hyped about this, like it means more than we can say.
Would you be able to promise the community a smooth mint?
God, yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, yes. Although
It's a cheeky
I have
question,
that,
man.
I'm like,
you can.
son of a, this is gonna be the one, isn't it? Like we're at like, I think today we're past, so we'll be at like 58. This will be our 59th in a row with no errors served, and watch, like ours will be the one. But no, yes, it's gonna go. If we have to take other projects online, it's gonna work. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm confident. I'll be there trying to mint.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I have a question from the audience
Okay.
regarding the team. How big is the team, and what's the plans?
Yeah, so the team at the core team at the moment is my partner Steven and I, and this is literally what we do for 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have a couple of friends that they help out here and there, give advice, but after the mints, we have a couple of things that we're going to be working on. One is we now have this amazing like community aspect to our project that we didn't have before, and so a community management team is going to be, in my opinion, like very very important, because what I don't want to have happen is the mint to happen and then just like the community, like I don't want the community aspect to be lost. And so there's gonna be that, and then bringing on people who are members of the DAO, bringing them on to do things like manage the DAO, build out those processes. Like on the server, like on the network and server side, a lot of it is thankfully able to be automated, but we have 4 or 5 builders that we become really good friends with who have some really cool ideas for how to like improve, expand, and chase that, like let's fork the Solana code. Let's make make this to where anybody can just plug in a computer. And so so we'll be bringing on probably 3 or 4 extra devs, like I say, community management team. Definitely at this point it will be beyond, with what we have planned and with what we're doing right now with the mint and everything. It will be beyond our expertise to solely manage alone. Let's put it that way.
I think if you actually get the funding, yeah, it's the team is going to grow beyond the two of you. I'm pretty sure.
It's 100%. And honestly, like it's going to be awesome to see that happen. It's going to be a ton of fun to have like a GenGo like team of builders. Is going to be just so much fun. I say we've got a couple of let's call it, folks that are looking to leave their Web 2 jobs and move into Web 3, that they'll be able to find their landing pad at with GenesysGo.
Looking forward to what's gonna what all these people are going to bring. I'm pretty sure everybody comes from their Web 2 to the future that you guys provide, and yeah, they can really materialize their imagination. Another question I see is about the whitelist. Is there a whitelist for tomorrow, and how many pieces are reserved for that whitelist?
Yeah, so the whitelist that and this is I wrote this in our Discord FAQ. So I definitely recommend that anybody listening, if you're not a member of the GenesysGo Discord, to join up and just read through the FAQs because they go over specifics of the drop, tokenomics, all that fun stuff. As far as whitelisting, like what I wrote in there, so we're whitelisting our users first, the team, like the developers and their teams who as early as anyone may have joined the GenesysGo Discord, right? It was those developers and their teams, like them taking a chance on what was 8 months ago, like 2 guys saying they can build servers, and them saying, sure, we'll put our livelihood in your hand and trust that you're not going to screw it up. It's really important to us to recognize that. And so initial get-go whitelisting is for those folks, and then folks who have joined our Discord and who have volunteered to do things like help mod, who have been extremely active, and then anybody's more than welcome to DM, drop me wallet address, and from there we'll kind of see. But I'm going to keep that open as long as we can to make sure that the folks that prevented Steven and I from being homeless are definitely able to get taken care of.
Nice, man. You've answered everything. No, I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to Lisbon, are we gonna drink some beers in Lisbon?
Hell yeah, dude! If I drink every beer that first of all I'm supposed to give to somebody, and then also I'm supposed to we're just all gonna die. You realize that, right?
Yeah, I know it's going to be quite a lot of beer. I have a flexible return for that reason, just in case,
Dude, I can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun. It really is. It's gonna be really cool to actually meet you guys and all the people we've been talking with on the daily, actually meet.
Looking forward to it. You've answered everything. You've explained everything, and you are an amazing builder. Amazing, your communication skills are huge, and the way you explain things, you could explain them that way only if you deeply understand them. So I can. The viewers at least have pointed that out, so thank you so much.
Appreciate it. No, thank you.
The stage is yours if you want to let people know about something or anything. I think that's a good time here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think your question asking ability has been phenomenal. So I think we've hit so much of it. As I say, I can't express appreciation enough just for everything that everybody has done. It's been fantastic. So I just wanted to really just say thank you to everybody, to the community.
Yeah, and I want to thank you on the Grape side, because you've also been providing services for Grape, so super thank you for that. Looking forward on future collaborations and growing Solana together. We also want to be the rising tide that lifts all boats.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, I think this is definitely one of those communities where if the more we stick together, the more we're all going to make it.
Yeah, and it still feels intimate and small, like a small group of people that we know each other. It's just beautiful.
It's super early.
Yeah, on that note, I think we're all covered here. The Grape community and all the satellites and all the guests are super covered. We're very thankful. See you in Lisbon, I assume. Best of luck with tomorrow. Will be coming your way as together as a community, because we'll be discussing our mints and our plans in the appropriate NFT channel in the Grape community. So yeah, we hope to have a smooth mint, and best of luck.
Really, yeah, I appreciate it. Really, if I can, just really quick, one thing I did, I knew there's something I was forgetting. Just as an FYI, I did want to give a shout out to our some of our users who have donated some really cool things. If you get whoever mints tomorrow, there's a chance that you can mint one of a few really super rare, like one of one NFTs. And like DeFi Land, for instance, if you mint one of 3 NFTs that have DeFi the right DeFi Land image on the monitors, they're giving out 3 beta keys to DeFi Land. Who is it? Fabric donated 2 of their Punks NFTs, and so 2 people who mint the right or mint the lucky mint the lucky Fabric NFT, they'll get those Punks airdrop to them, and then was it SGF United? They're donating a few NFTs, as well as the Solana Scoops NFT is donating 3 NFTs. So
yeah, partnerships and collaborations even before you started, man. It's because you're not coming out of you're doing all this the fundraising, all this community, this NFT, and you already have a successful business that provides what others would have been promising today.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like I say, it's been awesome watching them, like, actively volunteer. How can we help? So keep an eye on our Twitter, our Discord announcements. I'll drop more details on what to do if you mint the lucky NFTs, and how to claim your prize.
Awesome. We'll make sure to retweet. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for coming here, for spending the time and having the patience to explain everything.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a ton of fun.
And best of luck tomorrow, and best of luck to all the viewers that are gonna try minting.
Fingers
Hopefully
crossed, everybody.
you'll sell out, in less than a minute. That's my, my wish.
God, amen to that.
All right, man.
To that.
See you in Lisbon, and yeah, we'll have some fun there.
All right, thanks a lot. Talk soon. Bye.
Pretty good AMA! Man, Frank is such an awesome communicator. Like, the guy knows how... we had no structure for the AMA, because I knew he's going to drop quite a lot of alpha. I was like, yeah, let's just, go with whatever he says. And he's just... Like, I was aiming for a 40-minute AMA, and we're closing to an hour. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Over 140 people if you add them all together. And how many more are gonna watch the edited video later? Huge fun of the GenesysGo team, of Frank, the way he explains things. Like, you'll see, you can spot he has great understanding, deep understanding on the hardware and software, and in the end of the day, he's nor software nor hardware, he's a fucking quant guy. So that's even awesome. He's like a Captain Planet, where all the rings, all the elements actually meet. So yeah, super hyped. I have to say, I was a little bit ignorant before I started doing this research for GenesysGo. For today's interview, for today's AMA. And honestly, this is me, Will's friend, Chris, or whoever you like. The way I'm gonna try and mint one based off today's conversation. Like, I'm a virgin fighting a white sheet of paper. You don't like. I'm like, okay, let's talk to a guy and let's see if he's gonna convince me to buy his NFT. I'm convinced to at least try. That's not a financial advice. That means nothing. I am the anti-meter of NFTs. I'm the counter trade. I'm the counter whatever. Just usually buy something in tanks. So, FYI, like the short letters. So, I'm saying I'm going to mint doesn't mean that you should mint or that's a good idea or that's a good investment or all this shit. So guys, just letting you know, I'll do my best. It's not an NFT, it's a Genesis Go pre-IDO. Yeah, yes. Exactly that. And the art is fun, the community is great, Frank and his partner are amazing, the services they provide are solid, and the vision is grand. So yeah, let's follow. Let's see where this is gonna go. Let's support the decentralization of Solana. And I have to say, I had more questions. I had more questions about geolocations, about non-voting validators. I had questions about malicious actors. I just couldn't find the time. 1 hour AMA. Who's gonna fucking watch that? Like it becomes like, yeah, that's a podcast in the end. Guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for like making me feel special, and most importantly, making our guest feel special. This is the most important thing, really. And once again, I'm thankful to all of you that you achieved that. I want people to feel comfortable coming here and telling us, like speaking in with you know, no fear and yeah, we're here to get some alpha in the end of the day. It's just asking the right questions. Guys, good night. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna bother Hatoshi. He's sleeping right above me. I love you all. I hope to see many of you in Lisbon next week. Stay beautiful, stay profitable, and see you soon.